Hello, I'm Dr. Nancy Rocks, and here by popular demand is my explanation and demonstration of the New York Times Scientific 7-minute workout. So about 5 years ago, the New York Times ran a story that just went viral about this 7-minute workout that's supposed to help you stay fit for the rest of your life. And it's a great idea. It's based under the principle of HIIT Workout. HIIT Workout stands for High Intensity Interval Training. There's been a whole lot of scientific evidence for people from very beginning exercisers to elite athletes that if they use a workout system where they work really hard for a period of time and then rest or work much less hard and then work hard for a period of time, that's called interval training. And that high intensity interval training proves to be excellent cardiovascularly in terms of your muscles, in terms of your recovery. It's what every professional athlete uses, and it's what more and more regular people like us do to help us stay fit. So that's the idea of high intensity interval training. In this exercise, the other theory behind this is that we do 4 different sort of types of exercises, and we do them 3 different times. And so the types of exercise, what I mean by that is that we're going to do a cardio exercise that is mainly focused on getting your heart rate up. Then we're going to do an LE or lower extremity exercise, and then an upper extremity exercise, and then a core exercise. And then we start over with cardio, lower extremity, upper extremity, core, and then one more time again. Now, there's nothing magic about the exercises that we're doing, but there is something magic about that specific order. And specifically what we're talking about here is take the first lower extremity exercises. We're going to do a wall sit for 30 seconds, and then we're going to move on to something that doesn't really require much for our quads and our glutes. So we're going to be able to rest our quads and our glutes for 1, 2, 3 more exercises until we get back to the lower extremity. Same with the arms. We'll do a push-up. Hard on the upper body, hard on the pectoral muscles, hard on the triceps, but then we get to rest our arms 1, 2, 3 times and go to the next one. Now, this seems like a great idea, and it is a great idea, but a lot of these exercises are not really accessible to everyone. And so what I'm going to do is show you some different variations so that if you can't do a jumping jack sustained for 30 seconds, then you might be able to do a standing jack or something like that. I'm going to give you a lot of different variations. And if you find one that you just don't like at all, then substitute something else. If you find one that you really like, for instance, if planks are your thing for core, then you can do planks all the way through for core rather than abdominal crunches. So it's very variable. Now what I'm going to do and what they initially set up was a 30-second workout and 5-second rest. We're going to do a 30-second workout and a 10-second rest just to give us more time to get into position and get ready to go. Really important that you keep this work uncomfortable. It's not going to be an easy just, walk in the park. It's going to be a quick jog in the park. It's going to be, you're going to get your heart rate up. You're going to feel a little bit uncomfortable for those 30 seconds. You're going to have 10 seconds to rest. You're not going to get completely back to your baseline. And that's the other thing about high intensity interval training. You never quite drop back to your baseline, and that helps to build endurance. So that's the idea. These are the exercises. I'm going to go through these exercises one at a time and show you some variations. There's a lot of harder variations that I'm not going to really touch on much at all, but I'm going to go with the easier variations to make this accessible to more people. So if you're ready, I'm going to demonstrate each of these exercises. The first exercise is the jumping jack, an old standard. So a typical jumping jack looks like this. And you would do that fast, hard for 30 seconds. Now, if that's not accessible, if that's too hard, we can do what's called a standing jack, which is simply like this. Instead of jumping, we just put one leg out, back in, one leg out, back in, one leg out, back in, like so. If the arms are too hard for you, don't do the arms. Just you can jump like that or that. So that's kind of from hardest to easiest. Next is a wall sit. And a wall sit is simply sitting against a wall as if you have a chair, but you don't really have a chair. So it looks like this. So ideally you want about 90 degrees here. You want your knees to not be over your feet. You don't want like this. You want like that. So you want your knees to be over maybe your ankles, maybe mid part of your feet. You want to keep a little bit of a curve in your back so you have some space here. You don't want to really push your back into the wall. And you sit for 30 seconds. Now, if that's too hard for you, what can you do? You just don't sit so deep. You sit like that. The other thing about this, an important aspect of it, is to have weight in your heels. Drive down through your heels. That's going to engage your gluteal muscles more. And you just sit for 30 seconds like that. Okay, that's the first lower extremity exercise. The first upper extremity exercise is the good old push-up. Push-up, simply, very important to keep your abdominal muscles contracted, so you bring your belly button in towards your spine. I'll do it this way. Belly button in towards your spine. And you come down as far as you can and back up. Like so. That's pretty hard for a lot of people. Variations, knee push-ups. Like so. Another variation, chair push-ups, where your hands are on the back of a chair. Like so. And then a final variation, wall push-ups. And for all of these, you keep your abdominal muscles contracted. You bring your belly button in towards your spine. Really important on this exercise. So that's wall push-ups. Those are your choices for push-ups. Next, the core exercise, although I might add, push-ups are a big core exercise. The core exercise is an abdominal crunch. Now, I do have another video on our website that describes a curl-up, which is a really nice way to do a variation of a crunch. That's more in depth than I want to go right now, so we'll just do some abdominal crunches. And so that is hands behind your back, behind your neck, but you're not pulling on your head. You're just resting here. You're giving your hands, your head an opportunity to rest in your hands. And then the crunch is simply that movement. That's all. There's your crunch. And you can go smaller if you want to, but that's it. You feel your abdominal muscles contracting. That's the core exercise for that round. Next, we're gonna go back to a cardio, and that's a step up onto a chair. Now, this is the original idea. Step up, step down, step up, step down, step up, step down. I like to step up and down with the same leg so that I get an equal amount of exercise on both sides. Now, how can you make that easier? You can just use a lower stool. That's one way to make it easier. Or you can march in place, just like that. High march, like so. Next is the squat. That's our lower extremity exercise. And a squat looks something like this. You want your feet about shoulder width apart, and you come down, you stick your butt out, you keep your back curved. So from here, it looks like this. From the side, it looks like this. You don't want your knees to go way over your ankles. You want to come down and sit. Now, how do you make that easier? Oh, one more thing also, driving through your heels to come up. Driving through your heels to come up. Keeping your abdominal muscles engaged. So, a way to make it easier is, first of all, just a chair sit so that you can come down, rest for a second, come up. Come down, rest for a second, come up. Obviously, the higher the chair, the easier it's going to be. The final version is simply using this for a little support. So, down, up, down, up. Obviously, the less low you go, the easier it's going to be. So those are the variations for your squat. Next is a triceps dip on the chair. This is for upper extremity. This is for your triceps, the backs of your arms. And the whole exercise looks something like this. like so. Just bending your elbows, dropping your butt down. How do you make it easier? You bend your knees, just like that. It's not a big hip thrust. You're moving, what you're doing is you're moving your elbows from bent to straight. That's the triceps dip. Now, if the triceps dip just isn't available to you, you can do another upper extremity exercise. You can do the wall push-up if you want to. There's nothing magic about these exercises. It's just that it needs to be an upper extremity exercise. Next is a plank, good old plank. The way they do it initially on this exercise is a forearm plank. You want your body to be straight. You don't want this. You don't want that, especially. You bring your belly button in towards your spine and you hold for 30 seconds. How do you make it easier? Come down to your knees. How do you make it harder? You lift one leg and then the other leg. That's the plank. Next, we're going to do the core exercise. That was our core exercise. Next, we're going to get back to the cardio, and that's high knees. The way they do this one, and I think this is probably the hardest one on your joints, is a high knee kind of run, like that. That's a little tough. You have a couple choices. You can do a high knee with a skip. You can, again, march in place, high march in place. And you can also do something that's completely different, but still good, and that's just a standing box. That's going to get your heart rate up a little bit. So that's always an option for the cardios. Next is a lunge with a couple of variations, and a lunge looks something like this. This is the original exercise. You step out, bend down, come back. Other leg, step out, bend down, come back. Upper body is staying upright. I'm not doing this. I'm just dropping, if I can get my balance, I'm just dropping straight down, coming back. Now, a slightly easier way, I think, is to get a stance, drop down, come up, drop down, come up. You do that for 15 seconds, come back, drop down, like so. You can also use a chair for some support, like so. That's the lunge. Next is our upper body choice. And this is their version, the original version. That's a push-up with rotation. So it looks like this. You do a push-up, and then you rotate open. You do a push-up, and you rotate open. Easier, knees. Push up, rotate. Push up, rotate. Easier yet, looking familiar, wall. Push up, rotate, push up, rotate. Those are the choices for that one. And once again, if you don't like that one for any reason, you can do another upper extremity exercise. Finally, side plank. Side plank is a great exercise for core, and that is on your forearm. That's the original exercise. You can put your arm here, you can put your arm there. That's the original exercise. A couple different things. Looking at the feet, you can crisscross your legs like so. That makes it slightly easier. Another one that makes it a lot easier is bending your knees. And I also have a more specific and thorough explanation of the side plank, assisted side plank with knees, on the website in the McKinsey's Big 3 exercise section. So it looks like this. I'm going to move my hips forward to get up. That's the movement. That's the side plank. And on this one again, 15 seconds, and then you switch sides, like so. So those are the exercises. And like I said, you can alternate, you can do different exercises as long as you keep the cardio, upper extremity, cardio, lower extremity, upper extremity core workout series like that sequence. A couple of other core exercises, if you don't like the ones that are originally done, is the bird dog, which is this. And there's a couple different ways you can do it. You can do this for 15 seconds, or you can just hold for 15 seconds, or you can hold, come back to center, hold, come back to center for 30 seconds. So as you can see, it's not written in stone. There's a lot of different things you can do. One more core exercise you can do is to kind of gets the back part of the core, and that's super women, supermen, and that is raising one arm and the opposite leg. Raise, come down, raise, come down. Great exercise for the glutes and for the sort of the posterior core. So those are the exercises. Let's do this. You can take a break if you want. Okay, so we're going to do the 7-minute workout together, and I suggest that you do this with me and with whatever modifications you may need. I'm using a timer that I just got as an app called the 7-minute workout, and so it will beep and talk to me, but that's how I'm doing it, and that's what I would suggest, using something like that, or just using this video over and over. You don't need to listen to the first part, but just know where this starts and go to that, and you can do this every day if you want to. Okay, we're going to start our workout. Okay.
Get ready. Next up, jumping jacks.
We're getting ready for jumping jacks, so choose the jumping jacks method.
3, 2, 1, start.
Here we go.
Jumping jacks.
30 seconds of jumping jacks. Fast, get your heart rate up. That's the idea. This shouldn't be necessarily completely comfortable. Do it quickly. And smile. And rest. This is a 10-second rest. Next up is wall sit.
2, 1, start.
Here we go.
Wall sits.
Find a comfortable position. Again, your shoulder blades are against the wall, head should be against the wall, low back, little space. Drive through your heels. You can even lift your toes up a little bit. And this should drop your heart rate a little bit because we just did the cardio. Now we're moving on to lower extremity.
2, 1, rest.
And done.
Stop. Push-ups.
Next step is push-ups. I'm going to do a knee variation because my shoulders are sore.
2,
Here we go.
1, start. Push-ups.
Fast enough that you're working, but not so fast that you get sloppy. Rest. Next up, abdominal crunches, so you don't even need to get up off the floor.
3,
Here we go.
1, start.
Abdominal crunches. Rest.
Step ups.
Next is step ups. Onto a chair.
2, 1.
Here we go.
Start.
10 seconds goes fast. Up with the left, down with the left. Up with the right, down with the left. Up with the right, sorry. As fast as you can, but keeping it safe and good form. Oops.
3, 2,
One more.
1,
Okay, rest.
Squats.
Next is squats. And again, you can do the chair squat, you can do a free squat, you can do a chair assisted squat. Here we go.
Start. Squats.
Obviously, one way to make this harder is to have weights for all of these.
Three, two, one. Rest.
Rest.
Next up, triceps dips.
Next is triceps dips. Legs straight is going to be harder. Legs bent is easier.
Triceps dips.
Triceps dip. Notice the movement is just in my arms. Elbows bend, elbows straighten. That works those triceps. That's stuff that gets floppy as we get older.
3, 2, 1.
Rest.
Next up, planks.
Next is planks, or kneeling planks, or another choice of core exercise.
Start. Planks.
Start. Don't want your booty up. You definitely don't want this. You want to bring your belly button in towards your spine. A little lengthening of your tailbone back. Harder is that for 15 seconds, and then the opposite side.
3, 2, 1. Rest.
Rest.
Next up, high knees running.
High knees running or skipping. Or marching in place or standing box.
1.
Here we go.
Start. High knees running.
Get your arms in. Keep your knees up. And rest.
Rest. Next up, lunges.
Next is lunges. We can alternate or just go back and forth.
2.
Or stand on one leg at the same time. So here's the alternating. Here we go. Right, then left. Fast enough to get you out of breath, but not so fast that you have messy form. Switch legs if you're only doing the one-sided one.
Three, two, one.
Rest.
Next up, push-ups and rotation.
Push-ups with rotation. I'll do that on my knees.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go.
Push-ups and rotations.
Push-up, rotation. Push-up, rotation. I do like this exercise because it's what's called a compound exercise. You're working muscles in two different ways with the rotation and the push-up.
3, 2, 1.
Rest.
Next up, side planks.
Next is side planks.
3, 2, 1.
Here we go.
Start. Side plank.
You can do your knees. You can do your full body. You can do it against the wall. And then the harder is to lift a leg. That's a lot harder.
Swap sides.
Swap sides. Like so, like so, like so.
3, 2, 1. Workout complete. That's the way.
Rest. Way to go. Good job. And thank you.